Hi, I'm Michael.
Hello, I am Leith.
And I'm Frank.
So we have a competition.
Competition time!
Leith, do you want to tell us more about that?
Sure, we have a VIP day at Old Trafford with Anne Denise Wilson model from Manchester to win. If you go to our Twitter page at Weekend Football or our Facebook page /Weekend Football, just retweet or share the post about the Southampton competition, which is the 11th of January, draw being made on the 6th.
Good luck to everyone who's entering that. First game, we've got Stoke City versus Manchester United. Saturday, 12:45. That one's on Sky Sports 1. Stoke sit 11th in the table and will look to be breaking into the top 10 after winning their last two fixtures. Manchester United have their third away game in 4, drawing with both Villa and Spurs. Will this be another stalemate, Leith?
I think the statistics say that it will be. If you look at United's away record, Stoke are doing much better than they've been doing, but they beat West Brom at home. They should be beating West Brom at home. A surprise win away at Goodison, to be honest. But before that, they only had one win in their previous 6 matches. It was over Arsenal, but I think the statistics, if you just look at them on their own, would say that it looks like a draw. But I can see that United are growing in confidence, and I think it was the first time in this match that they've just played against Tottenham where they named an unchanged side for the first time in something like 85 games. Or was that 2 years?
Yeah, that's I think down to the fact that if you look to their bench on the 28th, that they didn't really have anyone to come on. I mean, they changed the 3 substitutions they made were all their back 3. They've got with Di Maria out, I don't think they've got anyone to change the game, and I think that's why he changed the defenders. But Stoke have won their last 2 without conceding. Frank, do you think that'll be a surprise?
I think Stoke are a tricky team to analyse week in, week out. This past month or so, they seem to have maintained some decent performances, starting really with that tricky run, which saw them play United at Old Trafford. And I thought that game in particular stood out to me as being, I couldn't believe that Stoke didn't get anything from that game.
Yeah, they should have won the game. I was there, and they had many chances and 2 in injury time that should have been cleared off the line.
Absolutely, yeah. Biram Diouf stood out that game.
They should have won, but then United should have probably lost or drawn most of the games they won 2-1 this season.
Yeah, Stoke have lost only 1 in their last 5, so they're clearly in form. But United are unbeaten in their last 9. They've won 7 of those. So will it be 10 unbeaten? We're saying draw, do you think?
Draw really looks likely. It's a really tough one to call. But if you look at the head-to-heads, Stoke won for the first time in February this year. It was their only win in the last 13 head-to-heads. And that was obviously at the Britannia. And their last league win over United before that was on Boxing Day in the old Division 1, and they won 2-1 in 1984. Bit George Orwellian, don't you think? A long, long time ago. I believe I was 20 years old.
United have only won 2 in their last 9 away games, so they've only won 2 this season.
Yeah, they've not been really performing terribly well away from home. 5 draws away. Yep. 2 wins, 2 defeats, 11 goals scored, 12 conceded. Very similar form, actually, but without the draws, balanced with 4 wins for Stoke at home, 4 defeats, 1 draw, 11 scored, 11 conceded. It will be very tight. And I think, if you had to choose, the draw would be very tempting. I just feel that United have got more consistent, and I think that they might just nick it by 1 goal.
I'm going the opposite for this. I think it will either be a draw
or a home win.
Or a home win, yeah.
We've covered everything then.
7-1 best price at Coral.
What for? Just
both teams to score.
Both teams to score.
So I think both teams will score, but I think Stoke might run away with it in the first 20 minutes. I think it'll be 2-0 Stoke in the first 20, and then United will come back.
You've had a dream. I've had a dream. That sounds fairly definitive. 2-0 in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
I know.
I'd put money on that if you've
Yeah.
seen it.
Well, if I don't, and I've said it in this podcast, I'm going to look like a right mug, aren't I?
What do you reckon, Frank? Where's it going to go?
I'm on the edge of reason with both of you there. I'm thinking either a home win or a draw. I can't see United getting the 3 points. The Britannia does starting to look like that fortress it once was.
Burnley won there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Burnley won at the Fortress.
And that's what I mean about Stoke being a very difficult team to analyse. And in particular, United in recent weeks, where have they slipped up? White Hart Lane, they haven't won. Villa, they haven't won. So, yeah, I can't see them taking all 3 points, no.
Second game brings Manchester City versus Sunderland, which is at 3 p.m. on BT Sport. Man City failed to capitalise on a Chelsea draw as they dropped points at home to Burnley, while Sunderland acquired their 11th draw of the season against Villa. So they're only 7 away from equalling the record for draws in a season.
And I think their 6th goalless draw this season as well.
Terrible.
And they've drawn against Chelsea, against United. You know, they've gained some decent points, but how many games have they won?
Exactly, and quite a big shock for Hull to go to the Stadium of Light and win 3-1.
It was a massive shock, and I don't think many saw that one coming. Quite a shock for City to be leading 2-0 at half-time against Burnley and to watch that disappear.
Yeah, Sunderland have only won 1 in the last 9, which is quite a poor run of games.
I do feel sorry for those travelling Sunderland fans. Looking at their away results in particular, 0-0 at Burnley, 0-0 at Leicester, 0-0 at Liverpool and Villa, and to break those results up, you got an 8-0 defeat to Southampton. So,
yeah, well, I mean that's
when
for them on the road, yeah. But they've not lost since they lost that match 8-0. Their last 5 aways, they're unbeaten. So they've obviously learnt something from that match.
Something also I picked out was that Sunderland, along with Cardiff and now Burnley, are the only 3 teams to have scored 2 goals at the Etihad in the Premier League in the whole of 2014. It would have been just the 2, but as we've seen, Burnley picked up that brilliant 2-2 draw.
Yeah, City not as strong defensively as they were previous year.
No, not far from it.
They have only conceded 10 in the last 12, though, scoring 27, whereas Sunderland's record is scored 8 and conceded 20, so a complete contrast. So I think this is only going to go one way, even though Man City did drop points at Burnley, but I think they'll be...
That Southampton game sort of distorts the numbers a bit.
Yeah, it does.
But if you look at, Sunderland have gone to Anfield and drawn 0-0, and they've managed to gain a point from United and Chelsea at home. But City, they're top of the form table, unbeaten in 10. Surprise dropping 2 points just the other day. City won at the Stadium of Light at the beginning of December. It was 6 games ago. We're still in December. It was the 3rd of December. This is their 6th game coming up. And that's when City actually won their 4-1, most convincing win there this season.
Yeah, it was the Aguero show, that game, wasn't it?
So, betting-wise, there's obviously not going to be a lot of value in a Man City straight win, or probably BTTS best result as well. It's probably not a great price, probably not value price.
I'd say a win to 0 would probably be the best option on a game like this. Yeah. I don't think Sunderland will get a goal at the Etihad.
Yeah, agreed. I think that the correct score has to be a good market to go for, and I think 2-0, which is best price at 6-1 at Bet365. So even that isn't that great,
no,
based on the correct score. But not a lot of value in this game.
Having just lost the opportunity to move within a point of Chelsea, City will be totally focused on getting all 3 points here. I'd be surprised if they didn't.
So to break up the football, we've got our quiz. Question 1.
Shoot.
Which Premier League goalkeeper made 15 saves in a FIFA World Cup match, the most since records began in this World Cup? Just gone.
No idea.
No idea.
No idea.
It was Tim Howard.
US.
Yep.
Jeez.
This is going back to last season, the end of last season, so mine's on the Championship. Who were the highest scorers in the Championship last season?
Leicester?
No. There's one that didn't come up. I'll give you that clue. No, I'll give it to you. Steve McLaren's Derby.
Derby, Steve. Sexy football.
Question 3. The January transfer window opens on the 1st of January. Can you tell me which team has spent the most since the start of the transfer windows were introduced in 2005?
Chelsea.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's Chelsea.
Gotta be. Yeah.
From memory, I think second is Liverpool. Final game we're going to talk about is Tottenham versus Chelsea. That's at 5:30 on BT Sport. 7th place Spurs host top of the table Chelsea in the London derby that has not favoured Tottenham in recent years. Will their poor run against Chelsea continue?
Another tough match. Tottenham a very difficult side to predict what they're going to do. They
Yeah.
have been certainly this season. They're unbeaten since they lost to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge
Yes.
3-0.
They have.
What was that? Not that long ago. What's that? 5-6 games ago.
It was. They've only lost 1 in 8, and I think it was about 6 games ago because they're unbeaten in the last 5.
They're moving up the form table with these points they're gaining. 6th in the form table. Chelsea are 4th. Tottenham's second clean sheet. They're 0-0 against United in the last 12 league matches. So
Yes.
defensively, they're the opposite of Chelsea, who have had something like, I think, 6 clean sheets in their last 8.
Yeah, it's a great record from Chelsea. Spurs are improving of late. They look convincing against United in the second half, but I fear that is purely down to the fact that they didn't concede. If the likes of Costa and Hazard had the chances that Van Persie and Falcao had that game, I think it might be a different story.
Is the support at White Hart Lane going to make a difference with Chelsea a little bit
It
wobbly
seemed,
after their drop points at Southampton?
it seemed to make a difference on the 28th when we played United. A lot of player reactions were mainly at the fans saying that they were almost the 12th man. So it could be a big factor, but Chelsea will most likely bring a big following.
Has Mourinho
There.
put extra pressure with the claims of being singled out by referees?
Perhaps. I think it might cause a bit of a stir if they manage to get a penalty when it seems like a dive.
Or if the big 6'2" strapping Ivanovic throws himself to the ground
Yeah.
as if he'd been shot by
Sniper.
a sniper when someone's hair touches his wrist or something. I can't be seeing any more of that. It drives me
No,
nuts.
but whilst we are touching on recent issues at Chelsea, what's the main reason for this blip? You know, I mean, it's far from a bad record, but you know, dropping points up at Newcastle, Sunderland.
The Newcastle
against
was
Southampton.
a surprise.
Mm.
Sunderland, not so much. Like, they've done pretty well against the big team, Sunderland, and it's a tough place to go. I was surprised with their Sunderland's 0-0 at Anfield, but I think Newcastle was a surprise. Southampton, I fancied a draw initially. We actually decided on Chelsea just edging that, but
Yeah.
my first forecast for that game was 1-1, but I changed it to 1-2 because I just looked at Chelsea and thought they're too strong. I don't know. I think Mourinho, there may be a Mourinho effect going negatively against Chelsea at White Hart Lane, but if they score early, I can see them just crushing them.
I don't think it's a blip by Chelsea. I mean, I think everyone's expecting them to win every game with the squad that they have.
Yeah,
so
you're
every
right,
time they
you're right.
drop some points or have a bad day, then it's considered a bad run of form. But
Yeah.
they're unlucky against Southampton, clearly, because by the sounds of Mourinho's reaction, it was a penalty. I haven't seen the incident.
It does look like, I mean, it's not as a sort of stonewall as some people claim. His knee did catch him, but he didn't actually deliver his knee to deliberately. There was no intent there.
Yeah.
It didn't look like there was any intent. So, but Mourinho's always going to overreact anyway. The world's against him.
Yep, exactly. And I think that if he's going to focus on anything, it was the fact that Chelsea didn't win the game.
Yep.
He's going on the fact that Chelsea didn't win the game because of this factor, but I'm pretty sure they had chances before that and after that. So
Let's see how they do at White Hart Lane.
Just a quick word on Tottenham. How vital are Kane and Eriksen for them to continue to challenge at the top half of the table?
I think Kane's important because he almost single-handedly gets the crowd going. He's a Tottenham-born player. He's come from the youth academy. 50th appearance on the 28th against United, and I think he just gives that. As soon as you see him running for that ball, it just spurs on the fans. But Ericsson,
Spurs
he's
on the fans. I like
Spurs
that.
on the
Like,
fans.
I see what you've done
brilliant.
there.
Full of Spurs puns, me. Ericsson is a very important player. Obviously, he's scored 7 in the last, I think 12, something like that.
Yeah, good
They're
for
not.
him.
They're not injured after the United game, are they?
No.
No. Okay.
No. But yeah, both equally important. They are both equally important players for this season.
Yeah.
Other than the others that you consider a bit lackluster for Tongan, not naming any names.
What do we reckon the score's going to be in this match?
I'm staying away from it as a fan. I just can't
Can't
even
call it.
No, I can't.
Sounds like a draw. Then you can't call it.
Yeah, it sounds
It
like
starts
it,
as a
doesn't it?
draw, 0-0. Frank, what do you reckon?
I have to say I'm with Mike on that one. I think it could go any way you like. I could see Tottenham nicking it. I think logically you could say draw, but equally if Chelsea pull ahead, then they could stick 3 or 4 goals past Tottenham.
Yeah.
I think you definitely want to avoid this one.
Can't see Tottenham winning, but 5-6, slight favourites. The bookies have made Chelsea 11-4 for the draw. I think the value's probably in the draw.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to go on this game, then maybe go with a Tottenham win if you're going to put a small stake on it, because that's where you're going to get your money back.
Can you see both teams scoring?
Yes, I think I can.
I think I would see both, because you expect Chelsea to score, but at home I think Tottenham will. Whether they win or not, I think it's quite unlikely, but a draw for me is probably the...
It's going to be tight anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Around the Premier League.
So final topic is looking around the rest of the Premier League games. I've only picked out 1 from the other 7. I just can't call any of them at the moment. BTTS best result, West Ham, West Brom. I'm going to go for a West Ham win. Best price, 3-1 at Coral.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. The other matches that look like sort of clear home wins are Liverpool, Leicester, Man City, Sunderland. The prices will be very short. Might be tempted to go for a win to 0, and you'll probably get the best price there at Ladbrokes.
Yeah, for an example of how close the games are, Everton go to Hull. Both aren't in great form. Hull beat Sunderland, but then they lost at home to Leicester. And I just think there's so many 50-50 games which can go either way.
That's a really tough one, because Hull's home form is atrocious and Everton's away form is atrocious. They've both lost 4 and drawn 1 of the last 5 equivalent home and aways. But I think Everton will actually win that game. But it's tough.
I think Martinez will have to in order to get a less pressured Everton fans on his back.
And Villa Palace, another tough one. Villa not scoring at all, but home advantage. Unbeaten in the last 4 homes, but 3 draws, 1 win. Palace, not a bad away record. 3 draws, no wins, 2 losses.
Yeah, you're dead right there. I mean, we're looking down the list, with the possible exceptions of Liverpool, Leicester, and perhaps Man City, Sunderland, any one of those could end either way. QPR, Swansea.
Have we mentioned Southampton, Arsenal? We've just had Southampton, Chelsea.
Yeah.
What do we reckon?
Again,
I've got that as a draw.
it's just too close.
It's tough.
Yeah, either way. It's not going to be a good week.
Well, thanks for listening. Next week, we're a bit back to normal. After the Christmas period, we've got Sunderland versus Liverpool, Crystal Palace versus Spurs, Arsenal versus Stoke, and Manchester United versus Southampton.
Download the Football Coupon app on iPhone and Android for best odds, bet tracking, live Opta data, and score forecasts. For more information, check out footballcoupon.co.uk.